My name's Sean White. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm here to share my near-death experience with you all. Back in 2020, I was going through a hard time and having struggles with mental health in my life since I was a child and going through a breakup and everything else, and just hoping to have a different career change in my work. And just felt stuck at the time. And so I went to a cliff I knew of and out away just to get away and pray to God alone, and just was praying to him for about 2 hours, just sad and for a change, and just asking, Lord, can I have a change? And at the time I was thinking about jumping off the cliff, just ending it all. And instead of that, I just went home later that night, and I was at a very low, and I I went home and just went home to go drink myself to sleep. And at the time, my depression was very bad for the past month or so, and just didn't know what to do, but just keep holding on to faith that everything will be all right, and battle through my depression. And so when I went home later that night, just drink myself to sleep, and my chest started hurting that same exact night. And it felt like, because I've done fighting before, it felt like somebody was kneeing me as hard as they could in the chest when I was laying in my bed. So I decided to go to the hospital because at the time COVID was a new thing, and I didn't want to get any of my family sick or anything. Made sure it wasn't COVID. Got to the hospital and they did a scan on me, and they at first thought it might have been COVID. They seen all the white marks in my chest. They wanted to do another scan just to be sure, an MRI. They did that, and then they came back to me and told me I'm going to need emergency surgery. I had a tumor in my chest. And then I remember just not longer after that, just hurt more and more and went downhill from there. And then another doctor came in and told me that tumor was very large, the size of a Nerf football. They're going to need emergency surgery right away. And I just remember laying in the bed, just hurting in pain and screaming. And I was sedated. And then my dad came and seen me, and he was there. And I just remember screaming for the nurses to tell him to leave. And because I didn't want him to be there to see if I felt like I was getting ready to die. So I didn't want him to be there. They had him leave, and I remember wake off and on throughout the experience. I don't remember too much, just bits and parts, people coming to see me and being moved in hospital beds. And I was at that hospital for about a little over a week. That final day at that hospital, I remember a little bit of going to the surgical area to get a biopsy done. And then I got the biopsy and it didn't react good on me. And that's when really downhill and ended up coding, and then went in the ICU, and then it's going downhill from there. I don't remember any parts of that, but friends and people I knew in the hospital, because I worked there too, but they seen me in completely yellow, and I was flatlined going towards the helicopter. And then got on the helicopter, was going towards the bigger hospital in the city. I don't remember any of it. And then the first thing I remember was having seeing my body on the floor. I was having a out of body experience, and these hands holding me, bringing me in the air slowly. And I seen the air flight people and nurses doing CPR on me, and it was the most peaceful thing I felt in my life. I couldn't see who, just hands with the cloths on the coming down from the arms. I was going slowly in the air from my body. I was thinking, oh, this is so peaceful. I'm going to heaven. And as I was getting further from my body and seeing them doing the CPR on me, I started thinking in my head, I can't leave my family and friends that need me. I wanted to be there for them and try to help them. And I knew how sad they would be if I went away. And then all of a sudden, the hands stopped, and I was slowly coming towards my body. And then as I was getting closer, there was just the whole time there was a bright glow of light everywhere. I was getting closer towards my body, and then thousands of other hands. I couldn't see their faces, but they were touching me, comforting me, like it's okay. And it just all felt so comforting and peaceful. And then just the hand slowly brought me towards my body. I got put in my body, and I seen everybody in the same spot I seen when I was in the air. And I had tubes in my throat. I couldn't talk for a while because all the stuff in my throat and in my neck. But the first thing I asked for was a piece of paper and a pen. They handed me it, and then I just wrote thank you because I knew what I seen, and just thankful they saved me so I could still be here for everybody that needs me. And then I remember some of the nurses were touched by that and were crying. I ended up just remember just passing back out. I don't know if they sedated me again or if I passed out, and then I woke up in another bed in the ICU and or the emergency center area. I woke up my dad looking at me and just had all these tubes in me and trachs, and then it just was really bad, and I was just thankful to be alive. I was able to text people laying in the bed just what I've seen, and I let them all know I love them, and I'm gonna do my best to fight through this. I was there for a few days there, and leading up to my major surgery I got, they told me I had the tumor size of a Nerf football in me, and it was called a teratoma tumor. I was born with it and grew larger. It was a large germ cell that grew larger, and I wasn't sure I was going to survive that. But I was still comfort because I knew what I seen in the afterlife, and I would be safe. Came to peace with whatever God had planned for me, and they were going over the surgery. They told me how long it would take, what they all planned on doing. They had to remove half of my lung, and it was attached to my heart and wrapped around my spine. And all this time, the tumor was taking away blood flow to my brain and just makes my concentration a little off. But so I was going down when it was time. A days later, I was going towards the emergency room to get my surgery, and I just at peace of what might come, and I was still going to do my best to survive it. I got in the emergency room, the surgical room, and I got on the board for my surgery on the table and was laying there and made sure I told in a low voice just motion towards them that thank you and thank you for trying to save me. And I actually woke up after the surgery and realized I was still alive, but it was extremely painful. And they removed the giant tumor out of my chest and half my lung and just wrapped around my spine. And the surgery took from 6:30 in the morning to 8:30 at night, they told me, and I was told I had 11% chance to survive that. But even after that, I realized I had to get more surgeries. In total, I had 4 surgeries. It wouldn't stop bleeding in my chest each time, thinking this is the time I won't make it through, but I'll do my best. I survived them all, and it just took months, very long time to get back on track after I survived it all. And I had breathing machine and had to learn to breathe properly again. And my faith has always been strong, and I always believed in God, even though I had a hard life, suffered from PTSD, depression, anxiety my whole life. And God has always been there with me through it all. And I would also do mixed martial arts fighting MMA just to deal with all my struggles and my anxiety and depression. And I would also try to glorify God through that and hopefully help if others heard going through similar problems as me. And after the surgery, I didn't think I'd be able to fight again. And just this year, I was able to get back and have a fight in the bare knuckle fighting league. Was able to keep hitting from what happened to me from the doctors, so I could be able to be cleared to fight there. And I ended up fighting a bigger opponent. Was supposed to fight at 155 weight class, and I agreed to fight at 185 and on a 4 day notice. And I just did it so I can hopefully inspire others. And even with my heart problems that I was leading up to that fight, I was had the ambulance come to my house. My heart wasn't beating correctly. A few weeks before that, I went into the fight with half a lung and just did my best I could. And even though I ended up losing the fight, felt like I was possibly gonna die in there. It was for a good purpose to so others would come to my story and know what I've been through and what I've seen. Hopefully, if someone had a loved one pass away, or if you're just unsure of in the afterlife, just that hopefully what everything I've been through, like me at that cliff, just praying to God and going home that same exact night, my chest started hurting instead of me deciding to kill myself and be doing fighting all those years and just never known I had that giant tumor in me. What I seen in the hands holding me, bringing me, and also just give people strength to keep fighting through no matter what. And no matter how many lows you reach, things will get better. Just most important, we have to be around to help each other. Yeah, that's all of my story. And thanks for listening. And I hope that this helps someone out there that's going through anything or lost anyone. Let them know what I've seen.